Hello Commanders, and welcome back to my tutorial series on how to play Fortnite Save the World. And in today's episode, we are going to take on Homebase Storm Shield Defense number 2 out here in Plankerton. Now, for some reason, when it comes to your storyline of the game, and at this point, Epic actually will allow you to complete Storm Shield defenses in advance. I do not typically recommend this. However, we have a special circumstance here. You have an opportunity to unlock your perk recombobulation here. And in good conscience, I cannot tell you not to go after this, because upon completing this, you will be able to change the roles on your schematics. And it's very important to be able to do that. All right. Also included upon successful completion here will be an additional close assault squad when it comes to our survivors, our 4th hero loadout, and our 2nd expedition vehicle, a C vehicle, rowboat slot 1. Also want to point out our V-Bucks here. If you are a founder, which we do have that founders account for this series, but then when you naturally progress through the storyline and reach this point, your X-ray tickets will also be awarded. Again, definitely don't want you to rush when it comes to the storyline of the game. But we do have this special circumstance here, and I do want to point out you have an opportunity to get after it, and I would. Then, once we finish this, under and behind the scenes in the quest log, we will want to start working on our limited time modes like Survive the Horde. Any other event challenges we have, like the Yar questline, Guide to Saving the World, Voyager's Arrival. But even more important, definitely want to start working on ventures. So we'd stop at this point on the storyline after we finish here and start working on some of these other items. All right. But anyway, we are going to go ahead and load in, take care of this defense, come on out, make all of our appropriate adjustments, and then we will be moving on in the series to those other items as mentioned. So let's go ahead and do just that. As we enter our Homebase Storm Shield, we will now be required to place an additional amplifier. Now, just like in Stonewood, there are some placements that I recommend, and honestly, in particular orders. Now, what I like to do is I will start to the north here and wrap around if I can in this direction. All right. Now, on our previous episode here, we spoke about your Homebase amplifier. I did work up here on the south a bit, and then we were also clearing out items that would be in the natural pathing of the husks. So as a reminder, especially if you're still joining us for the very first time, potentially, anything that you destroy when it comes to this area before the actual defense will be removed permanently and will not respawn. Okay, if you do it beforehand. Now, if you farm anything during the defense, it will regenerate. All right, so I do need to point that out as we are, working here a bit. As a reminder, if you have bushes that you cannot remove for some reason, and we'll point those out in a second, you can go ahead and shoot those with that obliterator that we had you get early in the season, before the update actually, but nonetheless, we do have it. No regrets, right? I'm just hoping in the future they go ahead and revert back a little bit with those defenders. Not a big fan of the new system, to be honest with you on it. Okay. I liked the option of placing them where I wanted to, and being able to provide them the weapons that I wished and have them standing in place for extra protection, so on and so forth. But again, that's only my opinion on that. We all have different ones. So first, whenever I come in, I want to make sure I'm going through. You can pocket some resource. This is all, once again, will be, in the potential way of the spawn. So I like to clear it out. You will have an attack eventually up this way. And in fact, this will be the amplifier that we are going to place first, up here to the east.
Nope.
I do very much like this one for our next option. And then something to note, and I mentioned this again in our previous episode. And if you haven't seen the other episodes of the series, I do have the playlist link in the description here below for you. You can catch up on the entire series. We're going through the entire storyline of the game to include all additional quests and Storm Shield defenses for you. We will also, I'll have a separate series on the endurance builds. I do have the Stonewood one up as well on my YouTube page if you are interested there. So things to think about if you want to go ahead and catch up on where we're at so far. But anyway, this area up here would be an area of concern, so we'll take a look at it. The Storm Shield bubble will provide challenges early for you, limitations when it comes to being able to build your defense. But it's all going to work out just fine here. And again, it'll be step by step for you. I'll show you how to, build it, trap it, and then defend it. We also want to make sure once you're in Plankerton that you're working those war games to get the evolution materials and gold. Don't forget about your daily war games out in Stonewood as well for that gold. Your endurance now that you'll be running. Again, I have that build done. And we will have that completed out here for your Troll Stash Llama and Banner. And again, just refer to that Stonewood series there and you'll be squared away. I've got it all ready to rock for you. And then you just use initially the traps that you do have, and then eventually you'll work your way up to my recommendations. And this recombobulation here will help with that, by the way. Where you can start, getting the rolls that you will need. We do have our Outlander again. We've been taking our time in our journey. We have not been pushing through. This is the first thing, honestly, we've pushed into ahead of time. But again, I have to recommend it. I cannot tell you otherwise when it comes to this. It's an important time when you can change, your roles on your schematics. It really is. All right, so we're going to continue here, just breaking things down. I do want to point out that once you place this amplifier, right, your attack from this side would not occur anymore. However, you will still have your attack coming down from this way initially. So I would just leave the home base as you have it at this particular time. I would not make a change here on it. So definitely need to point that out to you. All right, so let's just keep scanning and working. Again, we want natural pathing to occur, concise, directly toward the objective, free from any debris to prevent aggro, charging future propane, things of that nature. I like to clear everything out, and then I'll farm in the outskirts a bit. It's a unique farming opportunity here. A couple areas that I like to recommend, but anyway, we'll just start from that side and work our way in. And now remember, you're going to have spawns all up in this area as well. So if you need the extra resource, because it is essential to farm and save the world, you absolutely want to be doing this. Just go in here and clear out. And I like to go over info too while we're having these, these blocks. Pass along some tips to you or whatever. Stay out of the caves here. Keep those intact. There's a house and a vehicle up there. Keep those intact so you can farm them during the defense, then come back in the future and be able to do that over and over again if you don't remove them beforehand. And we did get into that cave a bit. We should call it more like a shed instead of a house, but it's a shed and a vehicle. And we did point out the red or oranges type plants here that we're removing. Forgive me on the colors. You have color blindness after all. But okay. So again, I know that we're having stuff going here. Now, Upon the completion of our Storm Shield Defense 1, we were able to now hold up to 3,000 of each material when you talk about your metal, stone, and wood. It also, you combine those items within your inventory to open up and free spaces for yourself. I would recommend that at this point. Anti-material charge is great. You want to hit multiple items typically with it when you're utilizing. Now, if you've gone a little faster and your power level is lower than the husk that you're facing here, again, if you're doing a defense that's at or above your power level, or maybe you're not confident in your builds yet, or maybe you still don't have enough material to tier everything up to 3, just something you might want to think about, bringing in that base Kyle or the Ice King, now that I've had that recommendation, if you've been able to get the vouchers and all that we have so far. So just cleaning it all out here. Now we're doing this in advance so that when we come in to drop our next amplifier, which we will in the future, it'll already be done so we can move it along a bit faster.
Sorry, can't.
I like to show this though because I always like to talk about like your consumables. All this stuff does go with you in your journey. We again are in a storm shield, so it's nice to be able to utilize this material. All right, now that the bubble is open here for you a little bit, I would make a secondary anchor right here off of what you had over there. Okay, and then we'll drop a wall dart over in this direction here. Let me just go ahead and break some stuff down here for a moment. We don't need this stuff for the time being. We'll start over with the traps as we get in. I like to do that. Break everything down for a moment. But we'll go in here with our wall dart and make up, some of these up. And then, yeah, we'll just start there. But I would get another dart here. This is a protection area for a bit. All right. Until we start, until we place this amplifier, then we don't have to worry about that. It'll come down. But for now, we should take care, leave it up. And we went over that in the previous episode, of course. That's available for you here on the page if you're interested. I would tell you if you're building 2 to go back and take a look at 1. I do like the build here that this build will take you. Actually, you can utilize this in the end game in the future. Really strong. You can use your anti-material charge like we just did there to get through. Again, I just want to clean this all up and have that pathing established. Now, if you like to farm during your storm shield defenses or endurances, which I do recommend, you do not need to farm everything out if you don't want. Again, in here, I like to focus on the caves and the specialized areas. It's an opportunity to get like your copper, your quartz, your coal, a little something different than you can normally get when you are in your storm shields. You have that routine as long as you don't break the stuff down. In these bushes here, you got to shoot those down. Okay, they do spawn up here as well, so you'll have a water tower in that I would tell you to leave if you can. You can farm that during the run.
Sorry, can't.
But I am trying to put away some planks here. And you can repurpose the materials, your twines, your planks, your oars, things of that nature. Your consumables that you can use during the actual defense if need be. And that way you don't have to waste resource on your, your healing pads, things of that nature. All right, go. Just finagle that a bit and you're in. I would say each day now that you sign in at a minimum, you should run that endurance at least 1 time per day in Stonewood. Again, before you get to Plankerton, you would either keep utilizing for a specific amount of waves, as many as you can get, whether even if it's only 5 waves. Revisit that endurance in Stonewood and keep running it. It's one of the most important things that you'll do early in your game, and I will take advantage of that in the series, and you will see how quickly we will jump by running endurance once each day. And I highly recommend that you do the same.
Sorry.
Everybody has that opportunity. All right, you just got to put the work in, and I've got the full guide for you where you can set that up step by step. Just got to put the effort in. If you're interested, of course, if that's your vibe. All right, so a real nice opportunity here for some additional resource in our pocket. We'll hit that bottom level in a second. Just kind of working the top level first. The Outlander's beneficial to you if you want to clear out the area. Be reminded that if you have extra stone and metal or wood, you can find specific sections here to store that. Could also, we're going to be talking about a material grinder here in this area. That's another video I want to do in Plankerton, where I'd place the mat grinder for the build, but we'll get into that when I do the endurance build. And again, that will be built off of my main probably, so that's relatable to all that are watching it. And then again, just use whatever traps you have initially, and then you would replace in the future. Or tiers or materials or whatever. Typically endurance, I will initially recommend metal across the board. Here in Storm Shield Defenses, you can get away with other. Again, just make sure everything's the same tier so there's no weak points if you can when you're building specific areas. All right. So now we have a nice clear area around. We will finish up in here. You'll have the spawns down here. I would leave this over here. I like leaving this stuff. So I would leave this be. I just like that whole area, honestly, right there. I just let it go. The enemies don't bother you there. It's too far, but it's back enough where it's not going to bother you. I'd probably leave this bush and everything. I just like that whole look of that. I wouldn't want to permanently lose that. The boat, too. I like keeping that out there. We mentioned that in the last episode, though, when it came to the boat. Okay. Be reminded of your phase shift capabilities that we have with your Outlander. We also now have an opportunity to have our Happy Holidays team perk available to us. When it comes to your loadout, after your commanders and upgrading them, once you have the evolution materials to do so, I would absolutely be leveling up the recommended heroes with your flux that I have, shown you in the journey. When it comes to, your pressing charges, your battle beat, your going coconuts, right? So just something to think about there. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but you want to be able to activate that Happy Holidays now because you have an ability-focused hero. So you start with your Trailblazer, then you work on the 3 with where you go and you use your flux on. The high-ticket items or the items that would help you get your perks unlocked. That's very important, by the way. Also, if you are working in your Storm Shield early on, like we are right now, you are already starting the process of your supply drop if you have it in. So right when you get started, you should have a supply drop ready for you. So that's something to point out. It's a nice little tip. All right. And then we go back around this way. Just make sure we can get into it.
Sorry.
And then now this is all area that we'll be trapping in the future. So everything that you see me removing, and that's what I'm recommending at this time. Right. And keep this up, and then you would have another anti-air trap on this corner as well. We spoke about the anti-air trap over there in case you get propane thrown at it, or maybe you get a lava or flanger, want to stand up here a little bit, it'll help you. So again, my recommendation when it comes to your first amp placement would be out here to the east. And this will be my alpha. So let's go ahead and install this amplifier. I do want to remind you with amplifiers that the enemies are typically trying to get to this box right here. Okay, that's their choke point, their attack point. You would want to build your pathing and or trap tunnels in a direction where you're almost baiting them to this area. As a reminder, around your amplifiers, do build something around it. We don't want a naked or no build amp as a new player for sure. This is your last layer of defense. Same build in stone, because I want and I recommend when you are going through the storyline that you are running your war games routinely. And I will also be doing those. Some episodes we'll do a bonus and cover them for you. Others we just go. All right. War games is important. And I have talked about it in Stonewood as part of that series, and then maybe I will do a series in the future on all the war games. I think that'd be a nice thing to do.
Sorry.
But again, make sure everything's tiered up, the same tier. I would go 3 here.
Nope.
And we should be good to go here on your amplifiers. With your storm shields. Now when we get into endurance, I have special builds that I would have you put on them. And again, when you're doing storm shields, I like you to protect your amplifier with your base, so we won't be messing with the anti-airs and things of that nature right now. All right, so just something to take in consideration in the end. All right, so your attacks will be the north, the east. All right, they'll actually come down and around through the south here too. So you have 3 different attack points when it comes to this particular storm shield. You will not be attacked from the west. Again, you can theoretically start removing some of the items here, but I wouldn't. I would just keep all that intact there. It's a really nice, strong build for you. It'll take you through your war games. It'll be good for you. I'd just keep it there. Good storage area too for additional materials. All right. But anyway, let's go ahead and work our way over to the north here first. Your spawn will occur down out here eventually in the water. They'll work their way up and through. All right. Now, when it comes to the build, choose a material, whatever material of choice you have. We did mix in a little stone and wood down here, but I would say start getting into your metal again. I absolutely would in this scenario. All right, against the wall. This will come here. Here. We'll talk about this in a minute. I like a nice 1/3 wall right here. You would potentially want to be mindful up and around if they could walk and get to you here, right? But really we'll focus here and we'll give a nice test for you. I like it to not be so clean all the time, so I can show you how to adjust on the fly, if you will, if you need to. All right, but I'll show you this build that I like to run out here. It's pretty fun. And pretty strong, to be honest with you. Remember, do not connect your trap tunnels to your builds or to your amplifier. I apologize. Do not want to do that. I want you to turn this into like a little kill box area almost. Really good opportunity here. Now you could potentially have enemies try to come down and around here to get after you a bit. So you want to be mindful of that and pay attention to it, just in case you get something that wants to get cute and work around there. Okay, you have outside here too. Many different things that you can do when it comes to your build. But I like this here, and then I'd like you to put your 1/3 walls right here on the edge. That's 1, 2, and 3. Work their way up. I would go with an edited pyramid here, just like that. into here and here. This would work up through here. Okay, many things you can do. You can actually run. You've got opportunity for dart 1, 2 into the 3 here where it could play for you. Okay, so I kind of like that back here. And then you have your ceiling up top. You wouldn't be able to do your finisher like I like to do at the end, and you don't want to connect here. You would stop right at this point. Then down in here, I like a block off that faces to the northeast.
Walls,
all right.
floors.
So this would go up and around top. You edit so that you can go and make sure everything is tier 3. All right, Baron in hand, and now we upgrade. Real nice, good quality build here for you. You would have the traps now at this point with how the game has changed. We're going to throw a little extra juice on there for you. Really throw the thunder on these enemies. Okay. I'm going to start getting into some different trapping techniques for you as well. I'm actually going to keep this here, believe it or not. We'll leave that be.
Nope.
It's actually a fun area here. Can really do some cool stuff with it, actually. Just make sure everything's at the same tier once again.
Sorry, can't.
Okay, let's go grab us some metal. Movement will be much better for you now in the game. And then back we go. I do like to face my builds a specific way. This will be more important when we get into endurance. Neat little extension area. You can really throw damage. Do you need all this in Storm Shield Defense? Probably not, but I like to give you different possibilities, opportunities when we're building. The building and trapping aspect to Save the World is fantastic. Unfortunately, it's a lost art a lot these days, but
Nope.
It really is quite fantastic. And you'll see with me when we're building, I'm always looking somehow, some way to throw some damage down. It's my style. I like to build damage. I like to kill husks. Many different ways. You know, you could recycle. You can stall. You can, I mean, there's just so many different techniques. Sometimes we'll mix those techniques in to the builds, of course, right? But nonetheless, just make sure, again, everything is at the proper tier here. I would go down for a minute, just double check,
Sorry.
which it is now. Okay, we'd seal this down. We'll have a lot of darts and dynamos on this build. Probably utilize the energy dynamos for now, but remember, you will want the nature. It'll play nicely for you down the road. All right, so we're up and good.
Nope.
Couple of ceilings. And then you are in, and there is some movement here. All right. And believe it or not, you could open this up and shoot a couple darts through here if you wanted. Could be fun for you, honestly. All right. You could open this up and shoot a dart across at 1, 2 to the 3 here. It would shoot through if you wanted it. You know, you could do the holes in the walls. You're not, and that would be if you get pushed in, right? But we'll keep it simple on that side. There's no need for it really in that area. This area here will shoot, but the other area will not. And then, of course, when you are building, like we did in our previous episodes, you want to have a nice place for your base to be. Now, typically with base placement, it's going to be somewhere middle center of the build. So you'd count 1, 2, 3 to the 4. You could even consider down 1, 5. So it's 1 up 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's how you want to run it, or if you want to protect back here. But yeah, you can go ahead here in this scenario. I think this is a nice place. Typically I like a block off, but I don't want you to put any more heat over here. So we'll go tier 2 on the stone. That way you know exactly where you place your base if you are following your builds. So something to think about. All right, so we got all this going. And that would cover your build from this side. And we just need to be mindful eventually. If there's any pathing and stuff that works around. Typically from up here, they can kind of path around. It can get kind of cute, but in my other area, if they're walking down here, is another section where I would, you know, be mindful of, I guess. I would start over here against the terrain. If you want to mix stone in against the natural terrain, and then you want to go with metal, right? You do something like this. I would just make sure you have coverage, right? 1, 2, into the 3 at this point. So when they walk through, this covers the side still. This would take care of everything for you. If you got any enemies, I would at least put these walls right here, just in case you got something that leaks down over this way. Can also do parts here too, right? You would just wrap around here as they walk. A few darts here, a few down there. You should be good to go. Sometimes we'll do a little extra to give you opportunity based on where your traps are in the game, where you might not need as much. Could almost say maybe overdo it a little bit, but I don't look at it that way. You're just investing in your future endurance, just like you did in Stonewood. Just tucking resource away. And you got a nice, good, you know, strong build for your war games, right? So we've got that going. So we've got darts. So you would line the darts around these areas because this would be your dart section. You could actually build another section as well up off this wall here, right? If they come down, for instance, you could have a dart here shooting, right? I think that's a nice little sneaky spot to get another dart going. I wouldn't worry about this one up here. They'll dump down, probably won't even hit it. If you want to connect it though, nothing wrong with getting some strength on the wall. Or on the build. In fact, I'd probably just go ahead and seal this down here. I'd put a wall here. I'd go floor to floor and just connect it. See how it wraps down, just to keep it safe. And actually on the entry point here, again, the game is so fantastic. There's just so much you can do, right? If anything, try to get cute over here. You just dart this on the outside. And good luck to them. You're always looking for what could go wrong. That's how it always is with me with building. I'm always thinking ahead. What's the worst case scenario? Right? And what does it cost me to be a little extra safe? Especially with your wide spawns, because you can't do certain things. Enemies can get, you know, interested, is what it is. All right, out here on the front of the tunnel, I like a sound wall trap if you have them. All right, so we'll start working the sound wall. All right, so sound wall here. Everything else would be good out this way. I wouldn't worry about this. I'd just leave it. You're just trying to connect and seal all the spots, you know, clean it up. Same thing in here if you want, right? You could just clean this up. Plus get less interested that way, right? You could just seal this all in. It's completely up to you. You could do block offs back here too. If you were like down here, could have a real nice block off section here. Not a bad idea. If you want to use this, right? You want to use the darts down here, I would consider it. These here will be darts that will shoot through your windows.
Sorry.
And then on the block off, if they were going to get cute, I would angle these to the northeast, both sides. Okay. Middle center wall, we edit it down. Make sure everything's tier 3 back here.
Can't.
I'll leave the opening. We'll come back in and upgrade in a minute. All right. I would take care of that. Nice little sneaky area here where you can get electric field too. At times if you're worried about the enemies like getting after you.
Sorry. Can't.
I don't often feel like you need that electric field there, but again, you have phasing husks in Save the World. They can do kind of some silly things on you at times. All right, so let's just finish up our upgrades here. We're in here. I'm just going to finish it. And then again, our darts will shoot through here. In the future, you could have heals attached or increase build health spikes to help you with the wall strength. Still shoot the darts through.
Can't.
Again, I use the single window over the 1/3 or the, I mean, you could actually even do more here.
Can't.
You could put 2 ceilings here, do electric fields, take that down to 1/3 walls. So many different cool things in the game when it comes to trapping building that you can do. I like to show these techniques so it's relatable. We're going to have a lot of veteran players who are going to go back and play again. All right, and I'll give, that way the builds are relatable to both play styles or experience levels in that. I think it would be pretty cool. But mainly the focus would be the new player, of course. All right. So anyway, that would take care of what we've got going there. On these outside walls here and over here at the end, I would have darts. Okay. You would have a dart shooting into here. You would have a dart shooting up straight through here. You'd have one here and here. Okay. You already have them shooting through both your angles here. So you'd be good. Down in this area, it'd be darts. Down in this area, it's darts. We just finish them off down there. You could actually throw some retractables down there too. You have a retractable floor spike. Actually, a nice little area for retractables, believe it or not. You have a couple here. I'd force them back this way in once they hit. That trap will cause knockback, so direction matters. I put that over my back shoulder and force them away from this wall. You could do tires here or electric fields. Typically, I go electric fields. All right. Then you've got a couple wall launchers here for this build. These would be your wall launchers. Remember, when you were starting a trap tunnel, we always start it with the wooden floor spikes. All right. If you're worried about smasher charging, you can do things, but I like the wooden floor spike here to start the party. All right, you've got your gas trap on the entrance. I like this. Remember with the gas trap, the wooden floor spike, the tar pit, the freeze. I do not like tar pits and freeze traps early in trap tunnels. I like them at the end. For instance, in this situation, I would go back to back here. Then this trap is working for that full tile plus 1, 2, and another half out. Start the process. And maybe these last 2 tiles here is where you'd get your tar pits for the first time. Because you shouldn't have a lot of high traveled area here. Right? So we just go up and in. We don't have the broadside trap yet. But these areas right here is where I love my broadside. I'm not a big fan of the broadside like most are. The reload speeds are terrible on that trap. Doesn't provide good consistency in my opinion. So I'm not a big fan. But you got your wall launchers. You've got nothing more than a 1/3 wall to keep them on the outer thirds here. Right? And then above the head here would be 2 ceiling drop traps. And then behind me is 2 electric fields. All level appropriate, just like whatever you've unlocked at this point. Okay. Electric fields will go here. Ceiling drop traps over your shoulder here and here. And again, when you are moving and shaking, everywhere you look, you are throwing the thunder. When I'm, where you're hanging with me and we're building. We're going to just really pop off here with the damage. Storm Shield, you have elimination waves. So you want to eliminate. Right. You have time ones too, of course, but the eliminations are important. And then down here, you could just run your dynamos. Here and here. And that is just a devastating trap tunnel with level appropriate traps. And these are dynamos here too on the way out. And then if any big ticket item, that's all that should release here would be here. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could roll tire here. So many people say you got to be 3 high on the ceiling drop trap or 2 high. Not necessarily. If you have this elevation here and they're rolling, it'll roll back down and it'll roll into here and then roll back if you want it. Or you go the electric field if you want a big hard hitting, you know, at the end. It's just playstyle choice. But that should take care of everything over here, and that would just forget about it. It can't be more over. Okay? And then you've taken care of this area over here too, just in case something wants to try to get cute. All right. So that takes care of our north direction right now, for now. All right. Then we have our east and our south. I think I'll jump over to the south first because I like to discuss this area here. It actually plays quite well here. All right. So
Time to build.
this area here is, again, interesting. I'm going to go stone first. Around the terrain. I want to be able to upgrade that if I can, so we'll leave it exposed for a minute. I like to just seal everything down, get nice clean transition points. Right here on this terrain, I like you to build up with a Dorito piece, and I'll show you what I mean by Dorito. And it would face to the southeast. Floor on top of it. We'll edit so we can upgrade everything. This would come down here. You have this here. You'd go here, here, ceiling here. I would make sure if you can try to put your gas trap first before you place that ceiling. Just like I did right there. Just make sure. Get your 1/3 wall out there too. I like the 1/3 wall. It doesn't let them to cut your trap tunnels. It makes sure that everything fires to include your wall darts. Again, we're going to light them up here, so.
A little building.
All right, we'll get some more metal.
Can't.
Storage comes in. Again, you can now see we've transitioned our stacks. We're looking really nice with our metal, stone, and wood. You'll be able to keep gathering this when you're running your material grinder from your endurance. You'd want to run that material grinder routinely now at this point in your journey.
Nope.
I really hope, if anything else to the series, that you take that advice with your Stonewood Endurance and you get it up right away before you go into Plankerton. It will make all the difference in the world for you in your journey. It truly will. It will be unbelievable. It'll just be really good for you. So.
Walls, floors.
Believe it or not, you don't have to do anything too fancy here. And actually, I might decide here, because you can't get out here now to do what I recommend. Typically, I'm just going to throw the spikes down here, okay? So actually, this trap here, I would change this one right now. I would just do a little something different over here. Okay, we'll just take that out. Make sure, again, everything is tier 3'd for sure when it comes to your builds. Don't miss any of your walls. Okay, we'll seal this down. This will all be 3. Make sure you're building with your Baron, your movement speed Baron. In this here, this situation, I would do 1/3 walls all the way down this area here. If you can get your dynamos in there, that's fantastic. Right, you'd run your dynamos all the way down here. And then if you can get your wooden floor spike in there. So you're really not able to get it on that first floor there, unfortunately. But you can here. And I'd run wooden floor spikes all the way down here. All of these wooden floor spikes. Everything gets tiered up. It's just introducing different trapping techniques to you now. Now, something I do not like typically is more than 2 block offs in a row. Then usually you want a space for them to move. But here it doesn't matter because they don't, believe it or not, with this particular one, they just don't mess here too much. If you build it like this, you're going to be just fine. Meaning you're not going to have to overthink this build. It's going to be pretty much slam dunk for you. And they'll walk right down through here and you can just light them up. And then when the bubble opens, you can just keep this here and then you go on the other side and you close them in here. So you'll bring it from both sides at them. And then you'll have an opening here you need to take consideration as well.
Sorry, can't.
All right, and then across here, these would all be darts all the way down. All right. These would be your electric fields. We'll make some electric fields up.
Nope.
And just like I said, go back to back to back with the wooden floor spike. It's such a great trap. Please don't overlook how great that trap is. That is a top tier trap. And then they're going to work their way up through here at you a little bit. So again, I was just trying to get everything tiered up for a moment. So this would be your entry point here, basically. So I would probably run a gas trap here. Okay. Just to make sure they don't cut, I would do your 1/3. Right. You can bring it in from both directions, actually, just to really make sure, like, if they come through here, they really come around. Here, it doesn't matter. You wouldn't need anything on front. But I would like you to put a dart right here, though, believe it or not. If you can sneak it, which we can. I would go dart there like I just did. Make sure your 1/3 wall is in the corner here. So they wrap, and you make sure that dart will fire. Okay. Now, when it comes to builds, I don't recommend that you build up in your storm shields like this. Let me just show you. All right. If this breaks, which it will often, it leads to bad things. So I don't recommend it. Just leave it as it is. You have a spike here. That's a full tile plus 1, 2.5 up a snare right here. All right. And this would be a dart coming from the side here. Typically, they're going to try to work around here to the box. All right, we'll leave that for a moment to show you. Again, you don't want to connect, though, your build here. Now, up here, though, we will. Come up here with it. Up, up. Sides here. You got your 2 walls here. Okay, I'd enter here and here. Okay, you could just build it off top here if you wanted, just like this. Actually, let me build the right way. I like it all facing the right direction, a specific way when I build.
Nope.
Again, that'll play in the future for you, I promise. All right, your dart would shoot through here. You could connect this down if you wanted to, or just leave it. And then you could extend another dart here because it's not connected to, it's connected here, but your trap tunnel isn't, so you could play it.
Sorry.
I really want you to work on this type of building. I want you to understand, like, your wall darts and your dynamos, they're like peanut butter and jelly kind of. They go hand in hand, right? You have them both at all times, working together. And remember, you do want nature of that trap as well. So please don't listen otherwise on that. I hear that recommendation sometimes. People say that. And yeah, you definitely want nature. You'll have specific storms in the future for them, I promise. You could actually, for safety, put a dart here and back here in case something leaks. All right, then you'd have 1, 2 into the 3 here of protection from that dart. And then you have 1, 2, 3 protection from this dart. This one shoots down, this one shoots back through. Can't get anything on the outside yet, but in the future, we'd make a little change and I'll show you how we'll adjust that. And then otherwise, these are all electric fields here. Just run your electric fields straight down, just like this. And those darts and electric fields will absolutely take care of enemies for you. All right. If you are concerned at all about lobbers or flingers, you could work some anti-air traps on here if you're worried about them throwing at you. That'd be a playstyle choice. For instance, let me just show you a couple what I might consider here. If you don't, again, if you don't have the material to build the builds I'm showing, then you've got to stop and go farm, right? You can't just keep pushing through with your weapons and that. You invest, practice your builds here. They'll be of great benefit to you when it's all said and done, truly. If you invest the time early. Invest the time when you're in Stonewood, Plankerton, and Canny. So when you get to Twine, you'll have a great understanding of how to farm effectively and efficiently. You'll have your mat grinders up. You'll be running your endurances, right? Unfortunately, there's nothing else that we can do right now with the build. I would tell you if you could get darts to sneak through, but you won't be able to. It just won't play. It's a tough area because you don't have a lot of room, but this works. But anyway, anti-air traps. Sometimes I do see lobber. That used to be more so when I could use your defenders here, of course, but I may consider some anti-air traps here. Like every other tile or something to protect yourself. I don't think it'd be bad to put like 4 of them over here, because they can sneak back a little bit on you. So I'd just skip every other tile here. Right? Skip. And then this one, I'd face these more outward. Boom. Skip. And then right up top here, I would skip again. All right. And then that's all in. Then you've got any lobbers taken care of for yourself. It's a real nice finishing piece on the build. Base placement, of course, as always. You'd want to consider your base placement, maybe where you'd want to place that base. Again, I tend to count it, right? You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the 7. All right, so you 1. Right? Maybe you would have your base here to spread. Maybe you're more concerned about this back here to spread if you want it. That's a playstyle choice. It truly is. I would go with a dart here, though, and over here as well. This will be fine. They won't make it to that point. Right? You could throw a dart here, too. That way, if they peek through, right, 1, 2, into the 3, and then they still have the access point. They're not going to go there, though. In fact, I would tell you, you could probably just bring that up another tile to here. It would slow them down, if anything, if they tried to get there, but it'll shoot at least through that tile. All right. This is for your big ticket items. Again, you'd have your dynamos here and here. Believe it or not, if you got a smasher or a blaster or taker back here, dynamos can play here. I would not overlook that. Right? Could potentially play on the walls here for you too. I'd leave those. That's a broadside location for me typically. All right. But anyway, that's the build here with some different techniques for you. would want you to take that in consideration. And then, as mentioned, if we want to put that base down, I mean, that's just your play style. I'm thinking like maybe somewhere right here where it could wrap down and work through up into it. Just replace your electric field. I don't typically like it that close, but it'll also protect that block off a little bit down below you. Another thing that you can do too is like in this section here, if you want to connect, right? If you had that base, you could kind of spread it, and your base would be able to spread. If you just threw these extra pieces here, that could be a benefit. You could also put it behind here and let it wrap down, but I like it there. I think it plays nicely. And then this would connect everything for you.
Sorry.
Especially when you start getting that mega base going. All right, but anyway, this would be your south attack then, step by step, talking you through it, explaining everything along the way. I think it's important to do that. Let me just go get some more material here for a second. I'll just top off while we're down here. This is nice, though, to be able to farm a little bit early when you come in, grab some loot, top it off. Money in the bank. All right, back we go. We'll grab. And then we've got our final side to go, and we'll be out of here. Now, here's the deal here. If you stay out of here, you're not going to have a problem here. If you don't stand over here, you just kind of got to like stand back over on the other side. You know, if for some reason you were concerned about, you know, enemies coming around here and leaking and trying to throw at you down here, you know, you could throw darts down here to protect yourself. I would wait and test that, though, before I did it. Typically, they want to walk up and go. This would be, if they're crossing here, I'd probably get a sound wall here or something in the front. Again, I haven't had any issues with them coming over here, but nothing a couple darts can't fix if you're worried about it, right? Throw your dart here. You could line darts against the wall. We'll test it for you. Let's get an update when we're running the run. If we need it, we'll add it. All right. Anyway, that will take care of all that. And then, of course, you've got your ceilings here. Whatever you want. We'll just stick with the electric field vibe. Believe it or not, though, I like one electric field typically, and I like to run a tire. I like to stagger, alternate, sometimes even, when it comes to builds. All right, so that one's all good, and we're done here. Again, just level appropriate traps. Everything you're placing has purpose, use, and meaning to it, which those do. All right, now you're going to have an area when you talk about the east here that's a little bit of a challenge because the enemies can actually walk up and around up through here at you. So you do need to be mindful of those. All right, I'm going to try my best to take care of that. We'll figure out a play for you on it. All right. And then this is all a different area as well as they work their way up. All right, so you'd be able to go this way initially. You'd have problems with the environment here. Nothing you can do about that, though. Unfortunately. There's not a whole lot of room before they're on you here. That's the problem you have. So anyway, I would try to get my dart shooting through if they'll let you. I don't think they're going to let us, though, unfortunately. See if you can get electric field up here. They won't let you get anything out there, I don't think. Yeah, they're not going to let us get out there. Because I was liking, you know. All right. Well, we'll do this. You would go block off here. You're not going to be able to edit it, so you'll have to keep it all the same tier.
Let's build.
All right, get a wall launcher. This is a thin tunnel here now. Wall launcher here. And we'll make a kill box here. Okay, these would be 1/3. Wall launchers there.
Sorry.
Shoot your dart through here. Actually, I would take a wall here. I would open this up instead. Shoot the dart through there. Shooting a dart through there.
Nope.
And of course, you've got your block up here. We'll just keep that all the same tier in there. You could theoretically touch the outside wall because you're, but here's the thing. When you do that, again, you cannot do that because they'll see the weaker areas and they'll get interested. It's just a tough area here. But we'll tackle it. You'd have your wooden floor spike here, of course. You'd have a gas trap here. You could also do a ceiling drop trap right there if you wanted. Oh, again, if you accidentally hit that wall, don't undo it. 1/3 walls will be fine. Yeah, just keep that the way it is. These would be a couple dynamos in your kill box. This would be an electric field above you.
Nope.
In here, I'd probably tell you to tar that down potentially. You could throw a tar there. You could throw a retractable floor spike in there early. You could go back to back on your snare again if you want. I don't typically like the retractables too much early, but it's a nice little damaging retractable you can throw. Throw it over your back shoulder. So it forces them in more. And again, that goes back to your tier 1 for now. We'll upgrade it in the future. Then what they'll do is they will come out here, right?
A little building.
And then you build them out. Your dart would shoot through that wall there when you can get it. They just won't let us put it. I wish they would, but they won't. All right. This would be your finisher that I talk about sometimes. All right, you just lock that down. You've got darts shooting through. This here, I would change it. I'd throw a dart here, and I'd throw one on the backside here.
Sorry.
There's not a whole lot here. It's a couple tiles, and they're in on you. But if you use your slow fill correctly and you go with it, you'll be all right. I keep touching that wall on accident. Apologies. All right. This would be your ceiling zapper. Again, you'd want your energy. I've got a reload and I have a pure damage, so I'd run 2 different zappers, believe it or not, back here. Now, this does cause a lot of impact. Impact can knock back at times. Sometimes this trap does. Oh, sorry, I don't want that one. I want the energy only. Give me a second here on it. Nature, energy. I don't have the other energy right now, so we have to chalk that energy right now. So we'll go electric field for the finisher. Yeah, so electric field out here. I would change this trap here for a minute, or this wall, and I'd just put your dynamo back out. I would shoot darts out here.
Nope.
But again, this would be your zapper. Okay, you could throw that over your shoulder here. You could actually get some play where an enemy,
Sorry. Can't.
right, if that zapper does knock them back, which it can at times, I do like a dynamo right here, believe it or not. I will shoot the dart through over here. There's actually a lot going on here
Nope.
that could do some good damage for you. Truly. If you play it right. Make sure everything's upgraded. Again, all pieces have purpose, use, and meaning to them. You'd want a section here where you put your base. I wouldn't have base, middle, center, though.
Sorry.
Too often, right? But here, we're not going to really have a choice because we got... You know, you could potentially, if they let me...
Walls,
Right? Get your base up
floors.
here. And spread it. And then we need to get another electric field, or zapper, excuse me, because we ruined our other. All right. But then you got your wooden floor spikes. Again, you can go back to back to back if you want. You could do a couple tar pits here, depending on how long the wave is. We'll make adjustments as you go here. Nothing. One thing about storm shields, especially endurance, they are not evergreen. It's just not one time set and it's done. You test and you work your way up to it. Now that build in Stonewood, if you put that up the exact way I have it, that's battle tested and nasty. You'll clear endurance every time with that if you can match that exactly. With your eyes closed, you will not fail that.
Nope.
As long as you're in the right place where you need to be, you know. And again, let's get that wall back here for now because I don't want to tear it up. All right, and then you just go with a couple tar pits here to finish. Then you got your darts. You got a dart shooting through there. All right, you could go with a dart here too. All right, 1, 2 to the 3. See how you're just trying to get in, you know, damage wherever you can. And again, Zapper, I'd put that over my back shoulder against that opening in the wall there. That'll be tier 2. I'd make that stronger than the other. All right. So anyway, that would take care of this. Now you could have a situation where you would have an enemy up here and there's just nothing really you can do. You can build up here and throw some darts out here if you really, really wanted to get after it. Right? You could go, and I'm just going to give you an example here, right? You go dart, dart. You could try, but see, they're not going to really let you get there with it. You're just going to have to pay attention to it to start with. Nothing we can do about it.
Can't.
Might have to drop a teddy, an ability, right? If you see something. But maybe not. All right, if you're running defenders as well, remember defenders do play now. So if you wanted to load out, load back in with your defenders, you want to run those defenders, you should. We'll go without it though on this one in the future. But anyway, that would be our east direction. Should cover you from the attack. Again, your only problem area would be up here. Another thing that you could do too, though, is you could, and I'm just trying to get it here for a moment, but I mean, if you really wanted to go after protection here,
Time to build.
you could do what I said before and just throw some darts out here. It could play and help you.
Sorry. Can't.
I don't mind it. Just in case you get something that leaks over here. You can take care of it. All right. All right. So that gets us taken care of. We'll go ahead now and we've done the, gone over the building, the trapping. Now let's go over the defense. And I would tell you, don't overlook your defenders. If you happen to not have them and you want to load them in, do it. Again, the first time through, I wanted to show you, you don't need to shoot anything. You use the traps. Even here, you probably won't need to shoot anything unless you get something that leaks. I would also tell you, you might want to, you could have anti-air traps up here too. If you're worried about something throwing over the top here, that'd be a real smart move. Maybe you throw this corner pocket here and you have an anti-air trap facing in that direction.
A little building.
Maybe you go for a second one, same way. Get a couple anti-air traps up here as well. Again, I don't want to set you up for success here. I don't want you to fail or have any issues. Could make or break you.
Nope.
But again, just finalize all your tiers. And let's run this thing. And then we've got some work to do with our recombobulation. And we'll start talking about different roles and how you work all that. Be a nice little episode. Another one of the longer ones, though, because we have a lot to discuss.
Can't.
Some episodes will go quick, but some will be in length. No doubt about it. All right. And then if I'm going to get my farm on now during the objective, I always move my loot out. I don't want any inventory going. Right? Get your weapons ready. Get everything right as rain that you need. Again, if you can't solo it, please don't complete it, right? That's my recommendation always. When it comes to your storm shields. The game's telling you, pump the brakes a little bit. Hold off. Now, if you follow this exactly like we have it, you're going to clear it. So we're doing everything, pretty much just laying it out for you. All right, so let's go ahead, turn off wait for assistance, because we're doing this on our own.
Here we go.
We'll load out,
Shield power increasing.
we'll wait for our zeros, and then we'll move.
Prepare for an attack from the south.
Could also go get your base real quick before you start. I would recommend that if your power level is a little lower. If you don't have your defenders, we do have flingers here for the first time. And I've already told you about those flingers, what we did on that, right? We put those darts out there for a reason. All right, see them? See how they like to come back there and lob, and he comes over here to the back side. But see, I threw the dart there to protect. See how we protected it? Again, everything has purpose and meaning. You need to have these darts back here, like I have them, protect you. And then your anti-air protected the top. Okay. And we're just going to let everything load in. Stand back. Remember, you have your supply drop for the run. Be running that routinely if you have it. You could run turrets, theoretically. You could run your Teddy, your shock tower, if you want. Right. You'll notice here, too, I purposely have this here because they will drop down and die. Some people will tell you to block all that off, but I don't. You can throw a dart here in the future. That's one thing I would add. But we'll hit that the next time in. The shielders should keep them alive a little, but I want you to watch this build work. How devastating it actually is. You don't need to shoot anything. You can throw your slow field down there too. You have your slow field. It's a tough area up top though. You get the dart shooting, it'll help you like we got up there. Could also do a wall launcher there to push them off the edge as well. A couple darts. We'll do a little adjustment for you on that. And then your next amplifier, anyway, you're going to be done because you're going to be placing it up there.
Another wave coming soon. Prepare for an attack from the south.
All right, so you got the east over here. I would go up for a moment. I would collect all that field loot out here, if you have any.
Sorry. Nope.
Again, I think my adjustment would be when you're here and they walk off here, you could throw a dart here. And, right? Do one here and here. And then you could come here and drop a dart here and probably here. And actually, you could drop one up on the wall back here too. So we'll make an adjustment next time we're in. Before we do war games. All right, so you see the attack point. Again, we'll head back here for a moment. You do want to farm while you're in, like I mentioned. We'll try to get some loot back. I would make sure you're standing over here though. Come over here and stand here. All right. If they try to get cute and pound walls like they are right there, again, we've got it protected. Nothing you can do though, right? Because you have the bubble there, but you'll see how this plays. And remember, we have and here's another thing too. We have a wall there, and I wanted to show you this. Remember how I told you guys about a weak wall? If you don't have it at tier 3, they'll point it out. We got it going a little bit on that one probably, but it's all right. Let them go in there. They'll die. I'm not concerned at all about it. There's nowhere for them to go there. Just throw your slow field and let them go right down and get chewed up. There's nothing but darts and electric fields waiting for them. They're going to try to go to that stair a little bit that we've blocked off if they breach through. And you pretty much have a double layer system here. Might want to throw some wooden floor spikes in there too, I would say. Maybe on a couple tiles, but it'll play. No worries. Okay. So again, I would let that be. And then you are looking at your builds. Remember too, you have that house that you could farm. I'm just going to go over here for a minute and mess about. If you're up over here, it's not going to hurt you any. All right. You can get your fragments while you're running. I hear a smashy. That dude's dead, though. You don't even have to look at it. He's going to get worked. Okay, anyway. Just kind of go up and... Yeah, he's going to get worked right down that list. Just watch him get shredded. Let's go back over here. This is where I want you. I don't know why all these years I still want to go that way. All right, open this up. Go get your farm on. Don't miss this. Each time you come in here, you should farm this area. All right. You've got your copper in here. You've got your quartz. You've got your coal. You'll go into Rock and Rift during the wave as your traps eliminate. See how you can jump, strike, and go.
We have a break in the action. Another wave coming soon. Prepare for an attack from the north.
It's a really nice sneaky area over here where you can get some resource. And again, it's pretty much AFK when you're working these builds. I'm putting you in a situation where you don't even have to look at it. It's going to be over. And that's what you want when you come and do your storm shields, your endurances in the game. You don't want to be thinking about it. That's what's glorious about being a trapper and builder in the game, right? Let your traps do the work for you. Reap the benefits. Go farm. Go get it back. This is elimination wave, by the way.
Let's build.
Beautiful area here. Remember, if you get a highlight there, it'll break. If you don't get the highlight, it doesn't break. Look at that pickaxe work. Okay, so that would take care of that section for you. Sneaky coal right here. Can't even see it. It's on the wall so good. Now, if you get too high, you'll have to jump. If it's more than 2 tiles, usually you're going to have to strike it. Unfortunately. So just hit your weak point each time. All right. And then out we go. Up we go. You have the home base. That's a slam dunk. It's crush. You don't have to worry about anything there. You have another
You did it!
area over here you can farm. But anyway, that would be how to build, trap, and defend your Storm Shield Defense number 2. Again, anytime you have an attack on that home base, it's over. There's no way they get through that. Every time you hit those 5 markers on your level in the game, that's a beautiful thing. You know you're probably unlocking, you know, in the next tier on a gadget, an upgrade, so on and so forth. Go ahead and collect our rewards now. And then we will go ahead and talk about some of the things that we've unlocked and how we can, you know, make sure we're benefiting ourselves. We have a survivor squad to add now, so that's going to be good. We're going to have some llamas to open probably at this point, or we can wait for llamas. We don't necessarily need to do llamas right now, but again, mini reward llamas in our pocket. Another stage of your Eldritch Abominations for the Mist Monsters. This is one of those Challenge Quest 2. Remember, you get credit for missions completed. Storm Shield's, of course, done when you're doing a Storm Shield. The re-perk is fantastic. And we got another hero loadout. So we'll collect all that. We also get our Expedition with the rowboat slot 1. Our perk Recombobulation. Now you can start modifying your perks of your schematics. You have our Assault squad here now. Increased healing and purge. Your adrenaline rush. More bombs if you're dropping those. All right, so a lot of things unlocking now when we talk about our levels. So, we can go start working on a couple different things. You can either access your menu here. I did a full walkthrough inside of Hestia already for you if that is something of interest to you. All right, we do have an additional hero loadout now. Okay, remember when you have your hero loadouts, if you're clearing them, or I would tell you have your defenders though, right? And with the defenders, again, I like the sniper still. I just like that range on my builds. But again, if you want to, if you have a daily quest, you can switch those out. But just let them roam with you. That's a playstyle choice, by the way, based on whatever you're running. Now, when you have the Trailblazer, maybe that's something that you'd want to have all your top tiers in. They just happen to be my top tier ones we've got right now. All right. So again, when it comes to your hero loadouts, you have your endurance loadout. You have your constructor loadout for any defense objective you're doing that's at or above your power level. You got your farming hero. And then you have another loadout to go. And here's a little reminder, especially if you are eventually, when you get teammates and or you're joining another streamer stream or that, you can put yourself a real nice quality build together that people would really, really enjoy if you were around and hanging out with them. I do like to show those. All right. So for instance here, if you have an empty loadout that you're not running right now, I would just have your recycling available. I would put in, and if you have these heroes, it's great. I like the Harper and I like the Warden Kyle, because at this time, if you follow along the series, you'd have these based on my recommendations, right? But again, if you want to do power modulation, that's pretty good too. All right, but just have a couple constructors, have your recycling, have this. Your gadgets, always the slow field. Every loadout in the game. All right. Bring your supply drop. All right. And then always have your defenders ready. All right. And then that way, if you happen to load in accidentally with your loadout for some reason, right? And you switched off and you're vibing and you're not in a private lobby or a no-fill lobby, right? Sometimes people will grab their hero loadout and they'll load in the wrong lobby. or in their teammates lobby, and they're like, man, I brought my wrong hero loadout, and then they leave, and then they can't get back in because they weren't in a private match. And then you kind of ruin the vibe a little bit. But here, if you bring in your base Kyle with your recycling, with those two heroes, your slow field and supply drop, anybody want to play the game with you with that. All right. And then, of course, you can change that out and put your power base up in there or whatever you got. But it's a real nice thing to always have when you have a loadout you're not currently using in case you accidentally lift in or load in. All right. So just want to go over that with the hero loadout. I think that's all we need to discuss. Other than that, once again, you are leveling up your commanders first. It's my recommendation. And then after that, it'd be key heroes that you have in multiple loadouts, like your battle beat, right? Of course, you're pressing charge with your Outlander. The going coconuts is a great one. I would say Survivalist would be one too that you would absolutely want to be evolving and leveling up. You'll run him a lot. All right, early on, I would think. All right, so we got all that going. But anyway, just some stuff with your hero loadouts. You could also do a hero loadout, like if you have your main, like here's a good example. Here, another loadout we could do. All right, we have our endurance loadout once again. Already went over that step by step. We had our main constructor loadout, but I made some modifications to it, right? But let's say you didn't want to modify it. So what we would do is we just switch this out for a second. So I would come in, I like to farm again with my constructor when I'm running. So I'd have my coconuts in there with him. I would have the power base. I'd put the base MD in here, right? For my allies' healing energy. All right, that'd be my main constructor loadout now. I have my endurance, my constructor. I have my Outlander loadout. This could be your, survive the horde loadout, like your limited time mode loadout here. If you're in dungeon season, again, because it comes back multiple times per year, you'd have your dungeons loadout here. All right. This is something that I would consider, though, if I were running the horde right now. All right, you get your power base in there. You got recycling. You don't really need the recycling per se when you're in there, but we'll bring it. All right. I like, for instance, Blast from the Past, but you can take one Dino hero of the main and unlock the perk, but you need two to run it. Because it's coming out in the near future, I wouldn't recommend it, or in the future closer than the holidays heroes were. We'd go that route. All right. But anyway, you come in here and start loading that out. And that's what I like to do, right? I'd make sure my survivalist is in here, for instance. I'd make sure the battle beat is in there. I'd have my healing. I'd have my extra durability because I'm a new player. I'd have my wall strength. And then this last one here, this would be, and again, I think I mentioned speed. I think speed would be really good to have to move so you can maneuver effectively. I also want to point out too, when you have your hero loadouts and you see these exclamation points here, you'll get the shield, the health, some of the stats, but you're not going to get the passive perk available when you have this. So you'd be any of these heroes that you don't have that on, and you could work with. You could also do the snare if you want to slow them down on your build a little bit. All right, you could do your frozen castle here too. That'd be nice. But it really is dependent upon what you want to run in the game. If you had that, but I like speed here too. All right, so that's all good. So that takes care of the hero loadout. Then we had our survivor squads, right? And again, maneuvering around here, it is what it is. I don't think I'm as big of a fan of the update as others are. I'm old school though. I like the old way of doing things, but after playing so many years that way, I would have rather had a zone or something else like that. Another, finishing a zone, another map, something like that for me. But it's pretty cool nonetheless. I'm not going to deny it. It's got some value here. All right. So anyway, now we have our our close assault squad now. We already have our commander here. We have her. We're ready to rock with it. We've worked on this in the future. I told you this would all make sense as we got here. Then we won another personality match. This would be one of the small four. So this would be your trap durability, your health, your shield, or your shield regen, depending upon what heroes you might have that match. All right. This situation, you are looking for competitive to match your leader. You'd be looking for one of the smaller bonuses if you have it. Remember, all survivors will have use to you early on. You would also want to change your survivor squad if you went to do the horde too. You'd run a lot of trap durability here and trap damage probably. That is something I do want to note. You would change your squad. That's another thing I wish they would. Man, that would have been nice if they added a preload or survivor squad loadouts where you could switch your squads depending on what you want to run. But anyway, person I match here, just based where we're at in the game. If, you know, the thing is, like, if you wanted a fraction on health or shield regen, you can get that from the boost in the game anyway. Again, to each their own though. I like balance. Remember, if you put any trap durability, you're in a team, somebody has more than you. Yours is getting washed. It's wasted basically at that point. So if you wanted to put a little extra health in there, all right, we have that. Again, if you wanted another trap durability bonus in here, which most people, that's what you're going to choose anyway, right? You go with your trap durability.
All for
Right.
one.
It really comes down to your playstyle. I know we're getting ready to go do the horde though. We're doing storm shields right now. We're doing war games right now. It makes sense right now. You're doing endurance right now. All right. But anyway, you're making sure across the board, and I just went over this on the Hestia video. We went deep dive here. So just make sure you get everything adjusted. Still don't quite have that leader I'm looking for, but that could be happening in the future for us. All right. So we are good to go with your squads. Other than that, though, then you start getting into, and you've got your quest here. You got a tutorial quest, right? They want you to replace a perk for tutorial quest. You get rare, uncommon, and epic perk up, plus another 1200 reperk here if you do it. So you pay for one, you get an additional one back, basically. All right, and then what you will do on that is you'll go find your table for that. Okay, and then you've got Clip down here. And she tells you she's created a device that allows you to alter, enhance your perks on your schematics. She calls it the perk recombobulator, and it's awesome. And she'll say, let's take a look. They'll walk you through. They do a pretty good job with the tutorial. So you grab yourself a schematic, and then you start looking at your primaries here. And I'm going to go off the barons first, just for the example, and then I'll come back in here and I'll mess with these a little bit more. But as a reminder, I told you, and we use perk up here, or epic flux, excuse me, here. All right, remember I said we want one movement speed baron, and we want one armor baron. That was my recommendation to you. I would go and take a look at this for a moment, and I would say, hey, you know, what's playing, what's not for me. I can see here I have one movement speed, no armor here. I've got two movement speed over here with an armor. So on this one here, this would become my movement speed one. So you'd modify the perks on it. You'd come over here. You take a look at what you've got going. Now, the Baron is also a nice damaging weapon. You can actually use this against the pillars, potentially as well. As such, I like the attack speed on it. I just want to point out why I like that. Attack speed is really good with melee. It's good if you're ramping a 6 perk, for instance, on your melee. Or you can go with a little damage if you want. It just really, really does come down to your playstyle. Maybe you want to mix in some damage with your melee instead of the attack speed too. All right, both work. Surely it does. All right. So I'd say make your choice on whatever works best for you. We'll just call it damage or attack speed. You could do life leech. Okay, then you get some nice goodies for doing that. And now you have a perk. All right. Then you get your movement, and eventually you'd have your movement here. Now there comes a point, I believe, where you cap out and you start getting a diminishing return, if you will, as you keep adding things here. Just something to think about in the future. Okay, and remember too, when you have your weapon, you have to see what is unlocked to you. And again, they've made some changes in the game too. It looks like they are opening up all your perks early now. Even if they are not leveled up. Let me double check that for a minute. Yeah. Even if they're not leveled now. Yeah, you're getting it up. Once you get to 51, it's opening now. So that's a change. Oh, no. You're still getting your 6 perk is still down here at 25. Never mind. Or 69. Okay. But if you get yourself to the first evolution and get yourself to 51, you have access to all your perks at least. The other ones. All right. Sorry about that. It's getting late tonight. But anyway, that's your movement speed 1. Then what I like to do is you can upgrade this and you can modify the perks again. Then you can start doing, different rarities here on your perks. So for instance, you've got your movement speed. It's going to be one you're going to carry a lot with you. You can go ahead with the rare perk up from you running your endurance now routinely, which I want you to do. It's very important early, by the way, that endurance for the rare perk up alone. Then you start coming in here and you use and upgrade a rarity of an item for a perk upgrade. And that gets us some more reperk and some more materials here, as we can see, a lot of different perk ups. So it's another tutorial quest you're doing basically. All right. And then I would just do the same thing here. I'd get them all to at least rare to start with. Now, another thing that you can do is you can change the element eventually on your weapons as well. And that's to each their own with that. Now, because this is utility, it doesn't matter. You can wear whatever you want on it. So I wouldn't even mess with this right now. But eventually, you can get yourself, put an energy on there for if you're going to do some damage against, the majority of the enemies you face. Or physical, if you want to go against, like, again, you're hitting pillars or monoliths in the future. If you ever found one or they released it in dungeon, which they won't. But anyway, just you got to know what damage you're doing. We'll talk about that more as we get in. But that would be your movement speed bar. Right? And you're good to go. Then I had you use the perk. I would come over here and I'd do the armor. Now this one's going to cost you. And it's a darn shame, but it is what it is. Okay. So you modify the perks here. This has an attack speed 1. I had the damage on the other, right? So I like damage or attack speed, so I don't feel a need to change that. But I do like armor here. All right, so I would go through here and I'll do armor on this. And then again, we'll get everything leveled. On this one now, because I like that physical. All right, then we go. All right, and that's your armor. Or you can take that up here and get it to a 3rd level too if you wanted to, and then. But again, it's nature, so you're looking for water elemental enemies. Unfortunately, we just got a bad draw on it. But I like these 2 barons. They become parts of my kit. I would absolutely want both of these if you're running the horde, especially as a new player. We will utilize these, by the way, if we can get the gizmos for them in the horde at our level. We should be able to. Then after that case, then you're looking at some of the other weapons that you might have, depending on what you do have. Now, again, right now at our level, we're not going to unlock the 6 perk anyway, and I'll be honest with you, I think, and I mentioned this when we got it, we got this for the pillars, right? Mainly. I keep saying that, but it's horde season. Now, if it wasn't that season, it'd be a little different. I still like the 2 barons, though. They'll follow you through your journey. So 6 perk doesn't matter here. But maybe you're going to come in here and rock this now, right? And then you could take a look at your plasmatic. And we've got a xenon bow too. We got snare on it though. We didn't get the affliction copy. So the roll would be different on that as a result. We're not going to mess with the vacuum tube bow. I wouldn't mess with the obliterator now either because of what we got. So I'd have 2 schematics. I'd go here with this one. Okay. You'd modify the perks on it. Now this weapon, you have a chance to get double damage to miss monsters and bosses. And I like it for that. That's mainly what you'd use it for. All right. So you could actually double this up and go damage to miss monsters and bosses. Okay, and then you've got a crit build with it already in place. You wouldn't even need to change that. You just come in, you get it both here and here, and you're good. You'd be ready for the horde with that. If you don't want crit, you like damage instead, by all means, go pure damage. Really teaches their own. All right, so you've got all that going. And then again, if you've got this xenon bow, this is a little different now. And I've talked about this in the series. When you have a xenon bow and you're looking at snare here, for instance, your rolls would be a little bit different on this bow as a result. Remember, this is a quest hunter. I look at it that way. When we got it, I said that. It's going to be our quest hunter. All right, so something like this, I would go and match my snare here. All right, so you're matching your 5th and your 6th eventually, right? And again, you wouldn't want to, I wouldn't be messing with it. You could theoretically put affliction on it now until you rolled up to 69, but I wouldn't. You'd be just wasting it in the end. Remember, when you're rolling your weapons and you go to recycle them in the future, or you book them, you get some, not all of everything. You're not going to get all your reperk back on your weapons, unless they've changed that here recently on the update, but I doubt they have. That's one thing. If you go changing multiple times with this bow, you kept changing that back, you wouldn't get it all back. So you got to make wise choices with it. And then from that point, I'm liking something like, you know, maybe headshot damage if you hit headshots, or straight damage even, right? You just get a straight damage in here with your damage slowed to snares. You got your fire rate and get your reload speed, right? And that's probably what I would do on this one. Or you run impact because you got slowed and snared. It's a shame how it is, but you could put impact instead of fire rate though. Now, the thing about the Xenon bow is you want to charge it longer. It tells you in the mechanic, right? Arrow drops over time. Damage range and velocity increase with charge time. So you don't necessarily want to have the fire rate on it. Unless you're quest hunting with it for some reason. You don't need a lot of damage. Or if you've got slowed to snare and you just want to shoot it quicker, you don't care about the damage. Right? You could just keep popping over and over and over again. It's a playstyle choice, my friends. But again, your rolls with snare would be different if you had the affliction copy. This could be more of your slowed snare knockback. The other one could be your more damage. It really does come down to your playstyle. But I think on this one, what I would do, because it's my quest hunter, and it's just like, I would not have the reload speed. All right. But again, the fire rate, you could change that to impact if you wanted damage again. I don't like damage on it. I'd go straight damage. This is just something I like. Or you could go headshot damage even. It's a playstyle choice. But again, there's not best or worst when it comes to rolls. It really does depend on your playstyle, how you play the game, what your team perks are. There's so much that goes into it. It's subjective. I like consistency, so I go with the damage. It's just my playstyle. For instance, on my other weapon here, if I knew that I wasn't using it against misbusters and bosses, I would go more consistent, probably with damage, but it is what it is. All right, but that gets you squared away, though, early on with some of your items as you go in. This is how you'll be able to be more effective when you go into the Horde. You'll have items that will hold up better for you. At a minimum, I'd go there. And then I'd also be looking at your traps. All right, you'd want to start looking at the traps that you use a lot. For instance, you'd want your ceiling drop trap to be taken a look at. You'd want your electric field to be taken a look at in the Horde. You'd want your darts looked at. You'd want your tar pits, potentially your floor spikes, your wall launchers, right? Your zappers on the core if you're running zappers instead. Your sound walls if you're running them. We don't have heals on our traps, so we wouldn't be using any healing perks. Your healing pads would be important. So you'd want to come in here and you'd want to start looking at the rolls that you have on the traps that you have. Now, unfortunately, which is fine. It's more of a stagger type style dart, but our dart roll isn't that great right now. Would I use reperk on these over the legendaries? Probably not. It would take some stones to do that, or some moxie. I'd be more concerned with leveling them up. So, for instance, with the Horde, right? I'd make sure if you could evolve, I'd get your dart up, your best dart. Whatever it is, your rolls are what they are, right? I'd get your dart up. I'd get your electric field up in the Horde. And again, this is going to be evolution material dependent. I'd get your ceiling drop trap up. Right? Unlock all those durability perks, the reload. Again, your perks aren't going to be great early on. That's okay. You don't need the best perks to be successful. I'm trying to think what else I'd run here. There are certain builds where I run the Dynamo, I must admit to you. The anti-air trail, this would be important. I would absolutely level this. Okay, so you got the darts, boom, 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 boom. Again, if I'm usually running darts, I would go tar pit. That tar pit will be important to you. So you got to make wise decisions here with your drops of rain. All right, so I like these 5 for sure when you're running the Horde. You could have your wooden floor spikes if you want to start your patterns off with the spikes. If you want to push with your launchers, there are some play. If you want to push launchers, I like the launcher as well. right? I'd probably run a launcher. Okay, we'd have to go grind a little bit. We need to run some endurance so we can get some XP amounts. All right. And then, of course, if you want to run the zappers near close, you could. I'd like to get the dynamo going as well, but I'd go down here with this dynamo because it's energy over the nature, where, again, uncommon can have more value to you than legendary in that scenario. But we got some work to do. All right. But anyway, that will take care of all of those quests for you, everything that we unlocked. We do have daily quests. Again, we have other things I want to work in the future. Hero quest, I just got to complete missions as a ninja now to finish that. We'll have another hero quest here in the future. We have Plankerton 3, but we will not do that now. We're on hold. I would not see a benefit of doing that right now. All right. So I think pretty much overall, that's a really good episode. We won't do an opening right now. We'll do an opening, I think, on our next video. All right, we'll get caught up. We'll get everything going here. We do have some gold. We're getting close to our other event hero now. So that'll be nice. We'll work the collection book a bit. We'll do that in the next episode because this one's been so long now. All right. But that right there was your Plankerton Storm Shield Defense number 2. How to build it, trap it, defend it, and then after the fact, establishing our hero loadout, our survivor squad, our how to utilize your perk recombobulation. I also want to talk about the rowboat and your expeditions in the morning when we come back for our next episode, though. I like to have them on the same cycle. I know that seems weird, but I just do. But again, if you come out here, let's just, for a second, before just another bonus here on the way out. Expeditions are important. Every chance you get, you should try to send those out. You don't want to overlook an opportunity to send your expeditions. Okay, so you go under the heroes, you go to expeditions. We did get a survivor back on the last expedition we sent. All right, we only have, these are only 4 hours at a shot right now, or 8 hours when you sign in. Well, this is 16 here, right? But again, if you send these, you'll be without those heroes. So again, if you want to, we have access to a land and sea now. If you want survivors still, you can go there. If you want building materials, you go here. Really comes down to whatever you're searching for. I think survivors are kind of important early on, so I wouldn't fault you here. But again, that's 8 hours without them. You need to think about if you got the time for it. But let's go with it. All right, so we have our original one here for a moment. We have the dirt bike. We only have 1 slot for the dirt bike. We have a bonus of a constructor or a soldier. So we would go look at those heroes that we've got going. And I do have a soldier. I have a couple of them actually we're not using right now. All right. So we'd go ahead and throw a soldier in for our expedition. Remember, you have your target squad power 75. We only have 39, unfortunately, at 52%, but you can clear. That last one when we were very low, I did get credit for it. All right. They fail when they're really high percentiles, and they succeed when they're low at times. At least send them, though. Remember, though, why this is out for the next 8 hours. You will not have access to that hero. All right, we'll send it. And then same thing here. We're working on them survivor squads a little bit right now. We have a bonus Outlander soldier here. All right. So, again, we have 65 this time. We have the rowboat, slot 1. Only the 1 slot. Same thing. We've got a soldier. Send it. Start your expedition. Launch it. Now, they're both pending. If you cancel, you can at any time if you wish. Just remember, when you cancel, you would not receive a return for your resource. So just a little bonus on the way out. Or you send those expeditions if you know you're not playing for 8 hours. That's probably good. We're going to bed for the night, so probably won't. All right. But anyway, that is our episode. And then I will see you for the next one.